Hey guys, welcome to round 18 Fantasy Buy Hold Sell. We've taken your advice and we're going to do a bit of a hybrid today with the slides and with the website at the same time. I'm joined here as
Cool.
always with Ryan. Hello, Ryan.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to what? Well, there was title of the Daddy Duncan strike, so it's a big week from him, and yeah, uh, obviously a guy that none of us own, so that's fun. Yeah, so the average this week up 1,966. So I think you're pretty close, right? And I actually managed to beat that, so bit of a turn of fate for me a little bit, but not actually as high as we thought. But obviously, Couchman and Right Comatongi are the main factors towards that.
Yes, some pains in my team. Less so in your team, which is what we're going to start off with this week, just to switch it up. So run us through it.
Yeah, so Brayley and Karazian, obviously Karaz out this week, but trading him for such a sharp, I never actually needed him for this round anyway. That's fine. And Brayley came in. Obviously only played 62 minutes, which is a bit annoying, but scored 58. Happy with that. Got Holden around as well, so that's good. And the team managed to 1,004, even without Talis Duncan or Jerome Hughes. So probably one of the few teams that managed to do that. So pretty happy with that. Obviously, the bench really pulled through, even though I
You
actually was
mentioned.
quite concerned about them. Yeah, 60 average from those guys, which is obviously the main reason why I managed to still have a good week. And yeah, obviously, it was a bit risky playing with four Roosters and not looping, but worked out in the end. And if this week, look, I probably am going to hold. Oh, that should be around 18, but yeah, probably am going to hold this week just because, out of the 13, I don't need anyone, but obviously we're at a point in the year we're getting cash in the bank is going to be very, very helpful over the next few weeks. So Fekete is a clear guy we'll talk about later on. But at this point, though, I probably will just hold. And yeah, my team's, it's all right. Obviously, I managed to still have two centers in, which is pretty huge. Don't have to kind of mess around buying anyone else or get anyone like that. Um, so you sold Marky Mark 2 weeks ago, which probably hasn't helped me out too much. But
Not talk
yeah,
about.
I think I think I'm pretty happy to hold and just play it out, and then obviously next week or next 2 weeks really focus on getting the big guys in.
Yeah, yeah, your team's looking really good. Definitely in a better place than me. I really had a womp moment here, trading out Hoskins 71 for Carraz's 44, and now Carraz's 18th man. I'm going to be a centre short this week. Tough titties for me, and it would be nice to have Hosking fill in for an injured Couchman. So I guess sometimes patience
Mm,
is key. Um, I've learned that with a lot of players. I should have held Zavala. I should have held Nawaka Tanawase. But I guess at the end of the day, you got to make moves. I have moments where I didn't trade when I should have, so you can't have perfection. Um, but yeah, disappointing with Karaz, probably not as high as I would have hoped. Koloamatangi, Couchman
mm,
falling short, and some of my pods not really pulling through. I was hoping Brayley and Adam Blake on the chopping block, but Kidione Katona, who is still in my team, 65 is enough for him to stay. Um, yeah, this week I think similar thinking to you. There's a lot of those big keepers I'm going to be looking for in round 19. So it'd be nice to get some cash. So possibly for Keddy as well. Maybe Tamari Martin, maybe a bit more of a risk because he might not get the spot. Preston is interesting, but yeah, out of the people I'm considering trading, probably these two on the left. AFB plays next week though, so not too sure. Um, but I'm also starting to consider some early planning for round 19. I've highlighted the people that I think are long-term holds, long-term must-haves, and then those aren't highlighted are either sort of cash out options or people I'm willing to trade. I think Garrick's time on my team's almost up after being in the squad for the
mm.
whole year. And then I might have to be moving on some of my Raiders and Sharks as well in the coming weeks. Um, yeah, interesting times. That's that's my plan. I still have some thinking to do, but hopefully this session will help me with some of my decisions and help you guys with some of your decisions. We're going to kick it off with James Tedesco.
Yeah, so obviously, guys, that we both have, and I think probably like the best buy of the week up against the pretty depleted Tigers side. I understand obviously if you are trying to wait out for a Latrell or for Jody Campbell, that's probably fair enough. But I mean, also 67% of the top 5,000. I think if you don't own them this week, you really are kind of wasting opportunity. And I assume people who don't have him wouldn't have three other wing fullbacks that are good enough. I wouldn't have thought like there actually aren't that many playing this week now. So, well, I guess he's a pretty easy player to bring in. Obviously, who you stole from is can be a bit hard, but I think probably one of your main priorities this week.
Yeah, I think out of the wing fullbacks options, he's probably the better one out of
Yeah.
even Carraz, Scotty, and Pappenhausen. So he's a bit more expensive now than he was earlier in the season, but um, very reliable. Jacob Preston, who I am still contemplating bringing in this week. You own him currently, and I did own him previously. He is one of these long season options that I guess everyone needs to decide who they're going to get into their team. Obviously, with the edge and mids, there's a lot of mid-edge duels going around, so I think it's sort of you can swap between them a bit. But based on that category, there's a lot of interest in people like Yo, Tino, um, May obviously is going to be in everyone's team. Aaron Clark. So it's sort of an option of me this week figuring out if I'm trying to cash down a Fiketti and get cash, or if I just go for a long season hold on Preston now. And I think both are good options. I think I'm leaning towards the cash though. I think I'd rather have Yo in my side. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm happy that I think people are going to sort of pass by him this week, and he can stay as a bit of a pod for me because like the reality is like he's priced higher than Yo, he's 100K more than Tino, and well, obviously priced higher than Latrell and Campbell. So in terms of value in that sense, he isn't best value, but I think like again, obviously people brought in Aiken as hopefully like a cut price keeper, and he hasn't really provided that. So I understand the value isn't quite there, and it's a bit hard to get to him this week, but I'm obviously very happy that he's in my side and I can just keep him there for the rest of the season. So it's a bit of a tough one, but yeah.
Yeah. I think the main concern for me possibly is he's had a lot of tries. I don't know how consistent that scoring will remain. But 61's
I
a
think
good
he just
score.
is that good though. So
Yeah, yeah. Um,
just a good player.
he averages 50% less tries per game last year, which it's something worth noting, I think. But the Bulldogs
Mm,
are a better side, so you can't sort of just be like it's been flukes because you are correct. He is a good player. But that's my main concern, I think.
that's fair enough. Yeah, Bench Katoa, obviously very similar, but a little bit cheaper, which is probably why people are looking at him a little bit more. Obviously, uh, I guess like I mean, very similar sort of things you could say about him as Preston, probably just a little bit lower in terms of base stats. And yeah, I mean, yeah, like I've obviously been fine with the edge spot for the last like 3 weeks now, so I haven't really been considering him, but I think definitely still a good option if you kept a Haas and you've got a Cashman out this week, and you obviously so your mids are a bit in a better spot. I don't think it's the worst option to go for.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that both these guys pretty similar price, pretty similar pod sort of in the top 5,000, top 1,000,
Hmm,
top 100. It's probably one or the other. It's probably not holding both unless you want to go real risky with it. I probably wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, I think I'm pretty confident in Storm being the best defensive side for the rest of the year. So it does make sense, but I think I'd still be leaning to Preston.
hmm.
Jerome Hughes is someone we were both considering for a while there. He is playing this week, which is good cover. He probably will be an option for a lot of people. I think there will be a couple people pushing, trying to get halfbacks. A lot of people probably playing Fainu and Fogarty. So I think if you have Hughes,
Yeah,
there's definitely a lot of points to be made over other people here. So even so, he's possibly a buy this week still. I'm going to be chasing Cleary. I have Jaden Campbell. I'm thinking about Tamari Martin, so I'm pretty overloaded on Haas, which is why I've sort of stayed away from him. But uh, as we know, the Storm have no more buys for the rest of the year, and he's been performing again consistently. An 80 coming in last week with a try, and then 2 weeks before that, an 86. So he's looking like that injury that was sort of affecting him at the beginning of the year has worn off, and he's ready to start firing with the best defensive side in the league.
Yeah, I think like if somehow you've only ended up with like one good half at this point in the season, then I think he's a pretty clear buy. But like on my side, I've got four decent halves at the moment, and looking at tomorrow morning next week, I think a lot of people do have quite a few, and at that price now, it just gets a bit hard to sort of justify spending that when again like someone like Jaden Campbell who can play wing fullback, it could be a very similar price after his break even goes down next week. So I think it was a good buy a few weeks ago with a bit of risk, and now obviously there's probably a bit less risk now, but you are paying a premium for it. So tough one. Then for Keddy, I know it's going to be probably one of the most bought players this week. Obviously starting second row, so we actually don't know how he's in the second row. I assume he'll be playing the full 80 with their own, well, they still have a hooker on the bench, so they're only playing a three forward bench. Uh, Obviously, so for him, Radley's out for another 2 weeks. Nat Butcher's out for another 4 weeks, I think, and Wong's out for like five. So pretty clear runway to get some good minutes. I guess the question you could ask yourself though is if you trade him in, do you plan on trading him back out? Because he could make you about 150 to 200K the next month, but are you going to have the trades then in round 23 or 24 to actually then be able to use that mid-range price to get to someone? Because if not, obviously you get a score this week, but he's not like a full cash out, and then he's someone that might go back to the bench in the Roosters team later on in the year. And then, you have someone there that you can't really play and just losing cash at the bottom of your bench. So if you need him this week, I still think it's fine, but obviously I think you have to kind of like consider what your long-term plans are for someone like this.
Yeah, it's tricky. I guess there's also a lot of injury concern with old mate unconscious
Radley.
second week.
Yeah.
At least. So he there's a chance that he does sort of stay in the team long term. I did
Yeah,
the
yeah.
I did the maths real quick. With his PPM at the moment, if he gets 80 minutes, the average will be 62.4. I guess obviously you can't sort of extrapolate that exactly to be correct. He got 58 with 80 minutes this week. And I guess that's just the main thing. This feels similar to me a bit like you buying Brayley last week in hooker.
Yeah. It's
I
very
think
similar, yeah.
it seems like he's not almost a full cash out, but he's a cash freeing up player, but he's also someone that you can play in your starting side. Someone that you'll be
Yeah.
looping into your team in the later rounds.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess for me, I've just got too many mid ranges already. I'm trying to sort out. And so don't want to add an extra headache. But if you don't, and so you need a bid this week, I think it's probably the best mid available to buy. So
Let me just see. If he gets an average of 50 every round for the next 3 rounds, it's
like
over,
150, I think.
yeah, it's about 120K, which isn't bad. Like
So,
it's definitely, yeah, I don't know. It's a close one. It's a close call. Um, I think Turbo here also is sort of similar cash out vibes in a sense. Very high ceiling. Moved to center last week and he played pretty well. He got 49
mm,
without a try. He got only one try assist. Um, I was at the game, so I feel like it's sort of harder to pay attention to a lot of the sort of attacking stats. It didn't seem to me like he had that many tackle breaks, but I don't know, maybe it was different on television. But I feel like he can have those games where he really comes out and dominates. And Manly just looked shit last week, to be honest. I feel like there's a lot more that he can provide for the side, and I think his ceiling can really go explosives.
yeah, definitely. And well, I think it was on like 4 points after 30 minutes, so that was a bit of fun. But like what, like 15 tackles, one miss, 130 run meters. That's 27 points in just base, and he's priced at 31. So obviously the risk with him is injuries. So obviously that's fair enough if you don't want to bring him in for that reason. But in terms of actual like fantasy stats, it's a pretty low risk sort of game where you get someone who can average you 50, you get back to fullback. But if not, it's probably going to average you low 20, so low 30s with maybe the occasional game like this where he gets seven tackle breaks and a try assist. So I mean, yeah, obviously I'd still be going for Teddy first, but if you need someone to sort of something a bit cheaper, play for you this week, I think is probably pretty good buy.
Yeah,
Not amazing though.
I think the sort of time to buy him is closing quickly. Like all it takes
Yeah,
is for
for
him to
sure.
get one of those big scores, and then it's too late, I think. So it's sort of like do it now or don't do it at all, I think.
Mm, yeah. Then yeah, Jack Bird, obviously back-to-back weeks now, starting second row. I'm not sure what happened with Seyfarth. Obviously, I know people don't really rate him as a player, but yeah, he's back on the bench now. So he look. Obviously, I'm not in need of center this week, so it's not something I have to really sort of weigh up. But I think he probably is a pretty decent choice. He could make you a bit of cash, but more importantly, though, he's obviously 330K. It's pretty close to a full cash out. And if you don't want to play for, if you like no centers at all, and you don't want to spend money on, I know someone else like a uh, Mikey Mark or someone like that, I think is probably the best choice. But it still feels a bit gross though either way. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm a bit torn because I recently went for Loelu from the Roosters for a hooker cover for this week and sort of a similar price thing. And now with Carraz out, I don't have an actual center to fill that spot. So I will be playing with 12. And I don't know if I really like being forced into another version of that trade. I've already done that sort of
Yeah.
deal cash out. I don't want to do two of them. I almost think it's worth taking the less points this week just to set me up well for the remainder of the season. I think Jack
Mm.
maybe is relevant only because of this week center coverage. I don't think he'll be relevant really after that.
Yeah. I guess the other way up though, like if you just score your 45, that is like obviously that's the same as someone trading someone in who averages five more per week than someone else for 9 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. So potentially there is value there. I think obviously yeah, but it's risky and just a little bit gross, I think, for at this time of the year.
Yeah,
So
I think Seyfarth could come back as well into the starting.
for sure. For sure.
Tamaro Martin is someone we're both considering now that ACL, I believe it was ACL for
Yeah.
the Dally M winner leader. Um, he's not guaranteed the starting half spot, so it might be a bit risky to jump on him early. And it's not required because they have a bye this week, so this might be something I wait and see and help me with my cash out endeavors next week. But I think if you're
Yeah.
willing to take a little bit of a 50-50, he's a good option for cash down this week, maybe to help you get to someone like a Preston.
Yeah, look, I really would just wait a week. Just because yeah, I mean, I think like almost everyone has a cash minute to sell, so as long as you have the money in the bank, you can kind of get to anyone. But yeah, I mean, I'm really hoping that he starts half back next week because well, yeah, he averaged 50, like was it 51 points last year when he replaced Sean Johnson. So that'll be huge for our sides if we can get that sort of cash out available. But I know Tanner Boyd has been playing pretty well in the cup apparently, and he was their replacement player last game. But Martin also has been playing though off the bench in like a utility role. So I really don't know where they're going to go with it, but hopefully, hopefully he does get the start.
Yeah, someone to keep your eye on. I probably will be waiting a week on this one. All right.
Yeah, then just
Rest of
a
these
hold here for you and
holds.
Aiken. Oh yeah, so Holton Sales, yeah. We'll probably go through them quite quickly. I think Aiken just I know obviously break even's a bit high playing center now, but he still scores fine there. And I just don't think he's someone that you want to rush out of your side this week when he is playing.
Yeah, yeah. If someone's playing this week, I don't think they're a sell.
And obviously Metcalf, ACL unfortunately, so it's gonna miss the rest of the season. And I think Cashman's also out. It hasn't been confirmed as his injury yet, but his role wasn't the best also the last few weeks. And then, yeah, obviously going to be probably out for at least a month, maybe the whole year. So,
Yeah, he wasn't scoring very well even before the injury. Yeah,
yeah, just second row. Just
it's
wasn't getting
really
the same amount of tackles. And
it's quite a shame.
yeah, then, yeah, Wong, I think it was MCL for Wong. So I only have like 4 weeks, but again, pretty good price to sell. So he has the high break even from his injury. So, I mean, yeah, it's a pretty easy player to sort of move on from at this point of the season.
Yeah. Um, and I guess that wraps us up for this week. Are there any other people on this list that you're thinking of for long season keepers?
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, I think you got all of them there. I think my priority is mainly going to be Yo next week if he's starting lock, and then Latrell and Campbell. Obviously, we'll get Campbell we don't have there, but he's already quite highly owned. I think those are the main three on the target. I'm getting more and more tempted to fade someone like Haas, but I just know that's just not a smart choice to do. But yeah, like there are quite a few good players out there that are interesting to kind of look at. So
Yeah, well, it's nice that Haas is losing value at least for now. So hopefully that trend continues because I think that 100 plus hurt our souls the other week. So,
for sure.
anyways, if you guys have some trades you're considering, let us know in the comments. We'll let you know what we think. And go the Blues, and best of luck.
Thanks, guys.